Hello and welcome, Kingdom citizens, Velocity Banking students, loyal subscribers, and new people. If you're here for the first time, God bless you. Welcome. My name is Denzel Rodriguez, your personal finance geek of the 21st century. On this YouTube channel, we cover Velocity Banking, Infinite Banking, and Kingdom Authority. And today's focus is really highlighting the Kingdom Authority part. Our topic, according to the title, is rediscovering the kingdom to gain access, right? To gain access to your legal rights, right? To authorize your legal rights. We're going to be talking about two different types of rights. We're going to be going over your internal rights and your external rights. We're going to be going over the two because it's very important as a human being that you understand what these rights are, how they apply to you in the world, and how you can take advantage, maximize on these rights that you have internally and externally so that you can achieve the results that you're looking for in your personal economy, in your personal life. It's very, very important that we do this, that we understand what our rights are, how we use them, how we access them, what is the legal procedure to gain access to my internal rights and external rights so that we can achieve financial freedom, so that I can comprehend information according to the environment that I live in, so that I can be a cheerful giver, so that I can live in abundance, so that I can give in abundance, help others grow, so that I can grow as well. All right? So that's going to be the primary focus. I want to take a few minutes just to say hello to some people in the house. I want to do a little audio check here. So let me know if my audio is nice and clear. So far we already have 29 people in the house, so that is awesome. Good morning to Carrie. Carrie says we got our HELOC, 20,000. Let me see if I can enlarge this. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Congratulations on getting your debt tool. I'm assuming that's your first debt tool, $20,000 personal line of credit. Maybe you were using credit cards before and now you've upgraded, so that's pretty awesome. Good morning to Mindy. Mindy says good morning. Jesus is in the house. Hello, everyone. Dave, how are you, sir? His greetings from Atlanta, Georgia. Lauren, hello, hello. Jesus is calling Dave out. He says, hey, man, haven't seen you in a while. How's it going? Loud and clear? Okay, great. You can hear me. That's awesome. Corbin says, good morning. Cool. All right, as you trickle in, get your notes together. There's already 36 people in the house. I expect a high amount of individuals joining us today. Get your notes together. I'm going to go things pretty practically. I have a template that I've put together so I don't lose track. All right, so I stay on topic. And we're going to put things in plain English, right? I'm going to share my screen. I'm gonna put the my Microsoft Word document open. We're going to start typing some things out. And let's see what we can build from this. Hopefully, this type of information, as you can, tell, is not something I do all the time, but I do believe it is very critical in the environment that we're in right now with the mass amount of information, that we start looking at the source of where we get our information from, right? It's very important to go straight to the source, because once you have the source of a thing, of a, purpose, of a vision, of a mission, once you get to the source, you have infinite supply. If I have infinite supply, I drastically reduce the probability of failure, and I dramatically increase the probability of success if I get to the source. Very, very key stuff. All right. So my goal for today is to focus on kingdom authority by revealing your legal rights internally and externally. Right? I want to focus on the people here right now that are searching for their purpose. Okay? You're searching for fulfillment. You're searching to release stress, right? You're searching for value, right? To be productive. That's the only reason why you initially hit my channel, is because you were searching for something of value. You heard somebody talk about velocity banking, infinite banking, becoming debt-free in 5 to 7 years or less, accelerating your mortgage payoff, right? Primarily, you landed on this channel for financial resources, financial education, financial literacy. So I believe it is important that if you're listening to me talk to you, it's important to know, where am I getting my information from? What is the source of my information? Because once you get to the source, then I become of less value. You don't need me anymore, right? And this helps you proceed in life and become independent, right? Self-reliant, self-governing of your own personal financial kingdom development. It's very, very key. So I think it's very, very important that you don't rely on the messenger. See, I am a messenger, I'm a manager, but I'm not the owner of the information that I speak of. I'm not the source of it. I want to reveal to you who that source is, and we're going to use practical examples. I'm not going to make it confusing. Be very, very, very practical. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So we can make things very, very simple. So I want to lay this out. This is going to be my template that I use when I'm talking to people in the future. And let this be a template for you as you build things out. So let's see. In order to understand your legal rights, both internally and externally, you first must understand what a citizen is. Okay? This is key stuff. You need to know who you are. You need to know what your place is in your particular society that you live in. Okay? So I'm going to use the United States of America as my example, as my template. And we're going to compare it to my source, where I get all my information from. I'm going to share with you my story, right, on how I was able to identify my failures, my successes, and understand where was the source of that failure coming from. Where was the source of that success coming from? And once I figured out what the source was, I was able to proceed and dramatically increase my probability of success. So, United States of America is a government, right? So let's just, put some definitions under here. Let's understand what we are talking about. right? United States of America, it's a government, right? In olden days, it would have been called a kingdom, but today it's a government. It's a, what are we, in a democracy, low-key, still? Democracy / republic, it's like in between, right? I'm still learning, so I'm taking my best shot here. If I make mistakes, feel free to correct me, right? That'll help improve the quality of the content here. So in the United States of America, it's a government, right? Or in the olden days, it would have been called a kingdom. It has a territory. It has citizens. Those citizens make up the territory that the land is being operated in. Those citizens have rights, legal rights, both internally and externally, and they have responsibilities. These responsibilities are what, in fact, allow you to access your rights. So something very important to understand, right? Something very important to understand is that you have responsibilities as a contributing member to a society. If you do not exercise your responsibilities in your country, in your government that you live in, the chances of you accessing your legal rights to obtain financial freedom or whatever it is that you're searching for or looking for dramatically decrease, right? For example, working, the idea of working, right? You can either work hard or you can work smart or you can do both, right? And you can either work for someone or you can work for yourself, or you can do both. You can work for someone and work for yourself. Understanding that the way you work in your particular society will increase the chances of you accessing more of your legal rights. Legal rights is everything when it comes to obtaining rulership and ownership over things that you have in your household, over your family, friends, co-workers, partners, loved ones, right? The more you understand this, the greater probability you have of success. And I want to stress on this. We're going real nice and easy here, okay? So let's go back. Let's go back here. So United States of America is government, it's kingdom, democracy / republic, has a territory, has citizens. I'm concerned, me as a citizen, what are my roles in this particular society? Well, let's Google it, right? So I already got it pulled up. Okay, if you go to, let's see, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, okay, or uscis.gov, right? Check that out and then go to the Citizenship Rights and Responsibilities. Citizenship is the common thread that connects all Americans. We are a nation bound not by race or religion, but by the shared values of freedom, liberty, and equality. Throughout our history, the United States has welcomed newcomers from all over the world. Immigrants have helped shape and define the country we know today. Their contributions help preserve our legacy as a land of freedom and opportunity. More than 200 years after our founding, naturalized citizens are still an important part of our democracy. By becoming a U.S. citizen, you too will have a voice in how our nation is governed. The decision to apply is a significant one. Citizenship offers many benefits and equally important responsibilities. By applying, you are demonstrating your commitment to this country and our form of government. Below you will find several rights and responsibilities that all citizens should exercise and respect. Some of these responsibilities are legally required of every citizen, legally required. So if I do not legally exercise my citizenship in a particular country, then I lose my rights. Responsibilities, another word for, responsibility mentioned in the Bible is called day, right? It's really management over your daily activity are your responsibilities. It's the management over your daily activities. That's what responsibilities really means, right? It's the daily management over your, activities, the things that you personally do and how you behave, right? So, but all are important to ensuring that America remains a free and prosperous nation. So here are our rights, right? We have the freedom to express ourselves, the freedom to worship as you wish, right to a prompt, fair trial by jury, right to vote in elections by public officials, right to apply for federal employment requiring U.S. citizenship, the right to run for elected office, freedom to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'm sure there's a lot of Americans that have never read anything like this before, right? Just simply due to lack of knowledge, lack of education, lack of will. But that is not you guys here today. You, the 62 people now in the house here, you guys are dedicating roughly an hour to 2 hours to really get to the source. A lot of you are struggling financially during this COVID crisis or any crisis that has happened in the past. And it seems like you just keep staying on this freaking rat race, the hamster wheel. You can't get off because you're operating a particular way that is not according to your legal rights. You're not accessing them accordingly. And we're going to go over both internal and external. But right now we're looking at the external stuff because it's easier to understand once I start bringing in internal. All right? So some of our responsibilities, we have to support and defend the Constitution. So that is a external response as a U.S. citizen, right? For my kingdom citizens in the house here and those that are curious citizens, okay? For those who are curious about your faith, what you believe internally, what your source is, right? To compare that statement that was just made by the U.S. government, the responsibilities of an American citizen is to support and defend the Constitution. So as an American citizen, we have something called a Constitution that displays our rights. It's how we operate all of our laws in every state, right? That Constitution is the template, okay? Well, we have another template. Those are your external rights. There's another template that you have, okay? It's called the Bible. In other words, another word for the Bible is a constitution. Okay, this particular book is in fact a constitution. It's a template. And it governs your internal legal rights. It's very important that you, as an American citizen, most of you that are watching are American citizens. If you're in other countries, right, same thing. You've got your citizenship over there, and then you have your internal citizenship. So we're talking dual. I'm starting to compare and contrast and show the similarities between internal and external rights. And we're going to use real practical examples to, provide evidence that you do in fact have internal legal rights that you can access according to the government, the ruler of that invisible thing that we call civil rights, internal rights, human rights. You cannot see it. You can write it on paper, but once it's executed in real life, you don't actually see it, right? So if you and I both can agree that if we can't see it, hear it, touch it, smell it, but we know it's real, well, then there must be a source to that that allows me to access it into the tangible so that I can get the results that I'm looking for today, right? So it's very important. If you go to the very beginning of the Constitution, right, in Genesis, there are some very interesting constitutional statements made about its citizens, right? So just like America has laid out their rights, so they're talking about their citizens. America is a government, or could have been called the kingdom back in the day, right? There are leaders, officials, people responsible, and then there's citizens that live inside that territory, that become prosperous, that live free lives, and they are self-governing themselves according to the Constitution, right? So you got to support and defend the Constitution. Well, it's very interesting. If you go to the other Constitution in the Bible, one of the very first commandments, right, or we could call them responsibilities, that was given to the human, right, to human, was to guard and protect the garden, right? The garden is just another word for territory, right? So it's land. And what are we guarding from? We're guarding from evil. We're guarding from those who do not follow the rules of money. They don't follow the rules of life. They don't follow the rules of freedom, liberty, and equality. Those who take advantage of others. We can then use our constitutional rights to defend that naysayer, right? That non-believer in our Constitution. We can repel them. We can repel evil just by speaking in legal terms, right? So we have to stay informed of the issues affecting your community. It's another responsibility. Well, this is one way that we all here are staying informed of the issues affecting our community. What are one of the major issues that affects our American society? It's the household. It's the average American household that does not make enough income, money, to support their lifestyle, right? It's the opportunities that they're not getting access to. It's the lack of knowledge that kills American citizens all day long. Our next thing, we have to participate in the democratic process, right? That involves being a political citizen, right? If you look at the root word of citizenship, you will see that political, or politis, I believe is the root word. A citizen is actually petitioning on a daily basis to their government to ensure that the government is in fact delivering what it says on paper in the particular society. So you as a citizen, it is your responsibility to be informed in the political realm. You have to understand that. Through political conversation, or what it says here, participating in the democratic process, we are able to exercise our rights. That is the process. If I take these rights and shout it in someone's face or vandalize someone's property, right, then I am going against the process. I'm going against the process. What happens when I go against the process, against the responsibilities? If I go against the rights of the other individual, in return, I lose my rights. And then we're in problems. So we don't want that. Next thing is we got to respect and obey federal, state, and local laws. We have to respect the rights, beliefs, and opinions of others. Participate in the local community. Pay income and other taxes honestly and on time to federal, state, and local authorities. Interesting. This is a responsibility according to the U.S. government. They made it a mandate that every single one of us has to pay taxes. That implies that I must work, both internally and externally, right? I must work to create income. I must find opportunities in my territory. And this other thing is we got to serve on a jury when called upon. That may or may not ever happen. Defend the country if the need should arise. Okay. So this implies that there is evil out there. Not all are good. So I must repel against evil if the need should arise. How do I do that? Well, I do that through my rights, through my responsibilities, through my increase in knowledge and information. Very, very important stuff here. So you as a citizen, a U.S. citizen, or if you're a citizen of another country, the more you get to know how your country operates, what your external legal rights are, the better you will be able to conduct yourself as that citizen. But that's only 50% of the work. That's the easy part. See, we can easily find our legal rights externally. And I just showed them to you. I'm using the United States of America as an example. Right? They publicly display their rights publicly for their citizens. Right? But us that have to figure out the other 50%. The other 50%, I would argue, is actually, in many cases, more important than the external. Because if you don't know how to comprehend the external from the internal, you may end up operating in a particular way that's not effective, and then you get upset, you get angry, you want things to be a certain way according to how you think it's right, or how they think it's right, or how this party think it's right, or how that party thinks it's right. And you end up in a state of confusion. So very simply, I went right to the source of the American government. I went right to a .gov registered website talking about the citizenship, rights, and responsibilities. Bam. Now I can conduct myself accordingly as an American citizen and move along. The next 50% is talking about your internal rights. Okay? So if you notice, what America has done is they've planted seeds, right? According to what we just saw. Well, according to this Constitution, right, and depending on what version you read, right, will kind of help you understand. Like I know when I read, say, the King James Version of the Constitution, or AKA the Bible, it's a little bit harder for me to understand because of the translation in different tongues. Now, we can make a clear assumption that if we have multiple authorities with similar wording, all I have to do, in case I don't understand something, is go to the root word of a thing, going back to the, say, the first languages of how that word gets translated, and that'll help me understand how that particular constitution is functioning. Okay? Very, very important stuff here. Before I go even any further, I'm going to look at some comments here. I want to get an idea, how are you guys liking this so far? For some, this may be boring. For others, this may be very enlightening. This may be exactly what you actually needed. See, the resource that you guys are searching for is what? Velocity banking, infinite banking, how to 10x my income, how to build wealth, how to save money properly, how to pay off all my debt properly, right? Those are resources. But if I don't get to the source and I rely on others to kind of feed me the information, I may not get there in a timely manner, right? It may take me longer, right? So I'll give you an example. Before I do that, I just want to look at some comments here, see where I left off. Let's see. Carrie says, absolutely couldn't have done it without your channel. Awesome. Morning Kingdom Leader from San Francisco. God bless you. Hello from New Orleans. Hi from Cali. Hello, hello. Antonio says, let's get it. Orlando says, Grand Rising. Love it. Let's get it. Cool. My ex-mother-in-law in Rifton. Okay, we're having a conversation there. I have a barbershop. Okay, cool, cool. Hi from California. Hello, Denzel. I'm another kingdom citizen. Glad to join your kingdom. God bless you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, you guys are talking. Hello from Indy. Hello, hello. Inland Empire. Hello, Veronica. Okay. You're saying this is awesome. I'm a fan of Dr. Miles Monroe. Same message. God bless you. Awesome. Yeah. I would say the things that I'm talking on now that I'll continue to build on this YouTube channel, my goal is to perpetuate the things that Dr. Miles Monroe was doing in his country. What's very interesting about that particular gentleman, if you don't know who Dr. Miles Monroe is, he's a kingdom citizen, he's a kingdom ambassador. He passed away, I think in 2012 or 2014, so he's been dead for quite some time now. Passed away. But his whole primary goal was revealing your legal rights, both internally and externally, via practical examples. So he would explain how, and he's from the Bahamas, so he would explain how at one point the Bahamas used to be ruled by a kingdom, right? It used to be ruled by a kingdom, and there were particular rules, structures, processes, right? And then at one point, Bahamas claimed independence from that particular kingdom, and they decide to live how they want. You know, freedom, liberty, equality, things like that. And so he spent his whole life understanding and mastering how kingdoms operate so that he can operate effectively, be a cheerful giver, reveal his purpose in life, his authority, help others reveal their purpose and authority in life, and ultimately reach eternal life, immortality. Because no matter how much money you and I make, we do not take none of that when we die. No matter how much assets and wealth you and I build up together, you and I can both agree that we are both going to die. Our bodies will decay. They will go away. They will die. So in the limited time frame that I have to figure out how to conduct myself accordingly in this world so that I can live peacefully, not be in pain and shame and disgust and sin and worry and doubt and fear, and totally flip it to success, to love, to passion, to authority, to abundance, to giving, to cheerfulness, to happiness, to love, equality, freedom, liberty. flip the switch, and then simultaneously figure out how to perpetuate that on planet Earth, similar to how some of our leaders have done. Take, for example, George Washington, right? Or Benjamin Franklin. What a way that that guy perpetuated himself. He's literally on the $100 bill that we all use. Every single American citizen and other citizens in other countries all know who Ben Franklin is, right? He figured out a way how to perpetuate himself on planet Earth, and potentially, depending on what his faith was, I don't know, but depending on what the judge said, right? The judge, jury, and executioner of the invisible realm, the kingdom, he may have obtained eternal life over there. So he solved for two. Hopefully, the 63 people in the house here and others that will catch the replay and all of my kingdom citizens, together we will figure that out together. How to conduct ourselves according to our legal rights, both internally and externally, to perpetuate ourselves here on planet Earth, because it's important. How you perpetuate yourself creates laws, creates culture. And we're going to get into this even deeper on how we create laws ourselves. How I, Denzel Rodriguez, creates laws and a culture in my household so that anybody else that gets born of my blood will conduct themselves according to how I conducted myself according to my source. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. All right. And I'm going to share my screen again here. And we're going to start building this out a little bit more. So what I want to dive into now, that I've kind of developed the framework here, is understanding how you individually, independently from your government. So for all my American citizens, you have the resource of the United States of America, that government. But sometimes, and we obviously see this more so happen in crisis than we do when we're doing well, is sometimes our government does not deliver what it says. This can occur. The responsibilities of the government to execute and deliver our rights sometimes does not, in fact, occur. And so I want to give you a personal story / perspective, right? Oh God. Perspective. Lord have mercy. Did it say I spelled it right or wrong? Siri, how do you spell perspective? Yeah, I did spell it right, didn't I? Oh, is it because I had the slash? Let's see if I go like that. I did have it right. All right. So, personal story / perspective on how my government has played an effect on my personal kingdom, right? Or in other words, my personal household. Okay, this is my story to help you because I understand how powerful stories can be, especially when they're true stories that have substance, that have context in the content, that have purpose. I can use my story as a way to help liberate, deliver some of you out of your poverty mindset, because that's where it starts. Poverty starts in the mind before it starts in the external. By the time it's hit the external, you're already at a loss. So you got to go back internally to reveal things externally. So, me personally, Denzel Rodriguez, I'm a U.S. citizen of the United States of America. Okay? And for the most part, I've lived a pretty okay, I've never had to, well, I have had to fight for my life, sometimes, but for the most part, I had a pretty decent upbringing. I never had to go without a meal, right? I never had to face those types of tragic behaviors or things. But I've gone through certain things that has molded me in a way to believe in something that is actually false. And through that, I was conducting myself outside of alignment according to my legal rights, both internally and externally. So, the source of my story starts with, I would say, my father was, falsely imprisoned in the USA. Okay? So my biological father was falsely imprisoned in the USA, served over a decade, I want to say roughly 11 years if I'm not mistaken. So his punishment was severe, you would say, because he was falsely imprisoned. So served over a decade in prison, but was an innocent man. My God, can I not spell? Was innocent. Jesus. This is how you can tell that I did not pay attention in class, because I had so many other things in my mind that was going on. I felt like my government did not care about me for many, many years. Right? So, served over a decade in prison, right, but was innocent. And then was released. Right? Was released from prison. All right? So this is where my story begins. I was born January 4th, 1996. Right? In the great state of New York. Right? During a blizzard. One of the worst. You could look it up. And prior to me being born, my father was already in prison. Right? So therefore, you have the breakdown of the family household. And it starts with the father. You guys need to understand what father actually means. Okay? Father means source. It means sustainer. In other words, you'll hear, I think, people from Israel or Middle East, they'll say the word Abba. Right? So source, sustainer, supplier. Father is a function. It's not a gender. It's a function. Right? So as I understand more and more terminology, this helps you access more of your legal rights so you can discover what your purpose is. My goal as I share my story with you is that you would do the same for someone else, because your story is what will free someone else from their pain, tyranny, tragedies, right? False accusations, things like that. And then my goal is to also break down definitions and terminology so that you understand the root words of certain things. So when you're talking, right, if you and I were in the courtroom, if you say a certain word that does not apply, that could lose your case, right? So a lot of you that say pray for things and don't actually achieve what you prayed for, or you don't get what you prayed for, it could mean that you have the wrong template, you have the wrong wording, or you have the wrong perspective, definition of a particular thing. So, coming back to the story here, right, we have the breakdown of the family household. Starts with the father in the United States of America. So my father, boom, taken away. All right, that means the source, the sustainer, the supplier is stripped from the family household. One thing to be made aware of, to understand, is the very first institution that was created was the family/marriage. So the source of the very first institution was family/marriage. If somebody loses that institution, then every other institution that they interpret will be incorrect to a certain degree. So here you have a young individual, myself. My source is stripped, right? The very first institution, family/marriage. That idea of family/marriage was interrupted, right? As I grow. And I'm sure there's people in the house here that can relate to some degree. We got 68 people in the house here, right? So we got the first institution that was violated, right? From a government, United States government, that made a false reading, and here are the consequences of that particular thing. Now, as I grew up in my society without a father, right, source, the function, the responsibilities, the protection, well, you have the second person in the family, the second head, so to speak, is you have mother, right? Mother is also a function, not necessarily a gender. It's a function. Father is source, supplier, sustainer. Mother is an incubator, multiplier, nurturer, manager, helper. If mother doesn't have father, right, then mother has to take on the role of father. A mother can only do that for a limited period of time before she begins to malfunction, because it is not the mother's job per se to be in full charge of that role, source, sustainer, supplier, and play that function. Although a mother may have to, it puts her out of alignment and it affects how she functions. So in my household, you know, I have a mother that had to play both roles, right? So I have mother that has to play both roles, and then you have the son that does not have the source. So therefore, anything son learns can potentially, not guaranteed, right? Not for sure, but highly likely, can potentially learn false, inaccurate, or misinformation. Right? So anything son learns can potentially be, let's just say, faulty. Right? So now, growing up, I'm sure many of you can relate to this. Me growing up, I was not exposed to my legal rights, both internally and externally. I did not know that there was another father out there, an invisible father that created the visible. I did not know that I had this manufacturer, this creator, that could reveal these things to me. I did not know that it was all part of the plan until much later. As you see me now, 24 years old, now I understand what the plan was. And I'm delivering that live to you today. Here is the function. Here is the plan. Here is my purpose. I'm revealing to you the steps. It's important because as you begin, right, for those who have been clients for a while now, those who are new clients, and those who will become clients in the future, the more you understand where my source is coming from, the better you will operate personally, physically, emotionally, right, and in your particular country. So growing up, I was not exposed to my legal rights, both internally and externally. And you could argue that neither was my father. You could make the argument that nor did he understand what his rights were, or else that wouldn't have happened to him. See, if my father had his father, and that father had his father, then the chances of the offspring, the heir, falling into iniquities and sin decrease dramatically. The more educated the son becomes, then anything he produces will also be even more protected and aware and knowledgeable. So growing up, I was not exposed to my legal rights, both internally and externally. Now, what I want to get into now is really the meat and potatoes. If you didn't already think this was meat and potatoes. Now we're getting to real meat and potatoes now. So we're going to fast forward to age 18, myself. So I graduated, right, high school in 2014. Okay, 18 years old, about to be 19. For 18 years, I did not have my biological father. I did not have my other father, my invisible father, my creator, my manufacturer. I was not in tune to the fullest capacity. Right? So I'm coming into society. So here I am, coming into my American government with a false idea, or you could say contaminated, right? Or you could say, what's a good word? False idea, or just, inadequate is a good one. So false idea, with a false idea to obtain wealth, freedom, liberty, equality. All right, so I got this false idea to obtain all these different things. The way I knew to obtain wealth, freedom, liberty, and equality was by simply taking from others. But not in the way that, say, you all would normally see what taking is, right? So I'll come back on the camera here. So me personally, as I grow up, and now at 18 years old, now this is me stepping into confession. So what I'm about to do is show you what it's like to repent, which simply means to change my mind, right? Change my behavior about a particular thing. So I want to make it very clear that everything I say is not from a religion, because according to the United States Constitution and according to this Constitution, both of which are not religions, both of which are not bound by a race or any particular culture. So knowing that, you now, from an open perspective, open mindset here, I'm coming to you legally with a legal process to obtain what I inherently should have, right? Or deserve, or is treated to me because I am the son, right, of the source, right? We are all sons and daughters of a particular source, right? And I believe that manufacturer, his name could be called Yeshua, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Raphi, what's the other one? Elohim, God the Almighty, right? So it comes in many different names. And to just give you a simple example, when I was in high school, I had multiple names. Some people call me D. Some people call me Denz. Some people call me Denzel, right? For my black folks, they used to call me Denzel. How you doing, Denzel? How's up? I'm like, okay, so I had that name. I had my white teachers used to call me Denzel, right? My actual name is Denzel, right? It's how it's pronounced in Spanish. It's pronounced Denzel, right? So you got different ways of saying my name. But then you have nicknames, D, Denz. Some people call me Chico, right? So I come in many different names, even today. Some people call me the Finance Geek, Mr. Velocity Banking, Kingdom Man. So I got these different names. Same thing with our Creator. He has different names. He comes in different names for different roles, right? Elohim, Yeshua, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Raphi, Jehovah Shalom. They have different meanings, different names for different cultures, right? So it's important to understand that. Just want to be very, very clear as we continue to break this down and open this up. All right, so let's come back. All right. So we got coming into the American government with a false idea to obtain wealth, freedom, liberty, and equality. And me personally, the way I got this at first, the way I would try to obtain wealth, freedom, liberty, and equality is I started searching, seeking, right? Religion has its place, right? Religion literally means to search, right? So religion means to search. So I was on the search, and I came across a couple different things. Right? I came across Catholics, came across Christians, Presbyterians, atheists, non-believers. Then I started coming across business-oriented individuals, right? And then I came across different concepts, right? One of those concepts was called working, right? Now, the true definition of work simply means to become. To become who you are. Most people in here, for the 71 people in the house, most of you have always known work to be work for someone else, right? Work hard, get a paycheck, come home, pay your bills, and do it all again on Monday through Friday and restart. But work is way more than that, right? Work means to become. But I did not know that because my source was not there to tell me, right? And neither was his source. So I had to go on a expedition. I had to search. I had to seek, right? Religion means to search. So I had to do those things. And now I'm like working to become. Well, unfortunately, while I was working, I realized that the work I was doing was not enough to supply the demands of my household. Meaning, in my home, we had a lack of knowledge as well as a lack of financial resources. Financial materials. So what I would do, and this is where evil comes in. This is where, when you don't know your rights, you start violating yourself. So one of those things was stealing, right? So I would steal. Okay, so let me put the camera back on myself so that my judge, jury, and executioner can see me, right? As I, not only am I talking to you, but I'm also talking to my manufacturer above, making a very bold statement, right? That I'm repenting of all of my iniquities, all of my sins, all of my disobedient things that I was doing to obtain what I believed I deserved, which in fact we all do deserve it, because it says it here in the Constitution. If we go to the very beginning, right? Genesis, right? Let me just start reading some of this to you. Right? It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In your Bible, it might say heaven and earth, or it might say heavens and earths. It says, now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and be separated light from the darkness. God called the light day, darkness he called night. Okay, there was evening, there was morning, first day. Great, first day. God said, let there be a vault between the waters to separate the water from the water. He's talking about the firmament, separating heaven from earth. Okay, so God made the vault, separated the water under the vault from the water above, and it was so. God called the vault sky. And there was evening and there was morning the second day. I'm just going to skip over this a little bit because I want to get to the procedure. I want to get to the part where he introduces the first man, right, Adam, right? He introduces him. So let's see. And God said, let there be light. Okay, we're in Genesis 1:12. Sacred time, mark sacred times and days and years. Let them be lights in the vault. Okay, where does it say? You guys can help me find this for my kingdom citizens in the house here. Here we go. Genesis 1 verse 27 says, so God created mankind in his own image. Right, in the verse before it says, then God said, let us make man in our own image, in our own likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. This is a constitutional statement. This is a rights, a legal rights statement made by the manufacturer. The manufacturer, God, right? Elohim, Yeshua, Jehovah Jireh, right? Different names, okay? He's saying, let us make mankind in our own image, in our own likeness. Well, image means characteristic. Likeness, right? That's behavior. That's you know, personality. That's look. So that they may rule. So God is a king, and He created little kings and queens, little princes and princesses. And the only way for them to rule is from a colony. Okay? The colony is called Earth. All right? So we got rulership. So that is a very key thing here. Well, the only way for me to get access to that rulership over fish, sea, birds, sky, over the livestock, over all the wild animals, over all the creatures that move along the ground, I have to, according to both that Constitution and the American Constitution, I have to become a citizen. So practically speaking here, right? Again, no religion is being introduced here, just kingdom stuff. This is kingdom thinking. And I'm using the American government as an example. If I want to become an American citizen, I must renounce wherever it is I came from to become that American citizen, especially if I'm not born here. If I'm born in the land, in the country, then I do not need to go through any parameters, any procedure to become a citizen. I'm just being. To maintain citizenship, I must what? Execute my responsibilities and live out my rights. Because if I go against my responsibilities, such as stealing, then I lose rights. Okay, so coming back to, you know, me repenting, changing my mind, changing my behavior, right? I am making a petition. In other words, petition is a prayer. I'm petitioning to my government, my internal government, because I was stealing and I was doing evil works. No matter how small it was still an evil work, right? It's an evil work to obtain wealth, freedom, liberty, and equality in the United States of America. Why did I have that mindset? I had that mindset because I saw the government did it to me. So I said, you know what? I'm going to learn your system. I'm going to rise above your system. I'm going to beat it, crush it, destroy it, and make it my own. Right? That is the attitude that I'm sure a lot of American citizens have, and other citizens all across the world that experience oppression, depression, anxiety, stress, worry, fear. Rather than going to the Constitution and revealing what is actually yours and how to obtain it. So I'm giving you the process, right? First, I'm sharing my story. I'm taking you through a legal process. If you're about to get sued, right? Or let's say there's a lawsuit against you, against your company, against you. When you go to court, your lawyer who is speaking on your behalf has to present the case in a summary, right? But they have to provide the necessary details to back up why you should not be getting sued and why you'll win over the other individual. Does that make sense? So, me personally, from 18 years old all the way to like 21, I think, 21, 22, I was stealing from my government, right? But in the form of through small business, right? Or through my fellow American citizens. So I'm stealing, right? Not a good thing. You and I both agree, stealing, even if it's a nickel out of your mother's purse, it's not okay. Even if you steal a nickel, as small as a nickel. So that's the first sin that I'm recognizing. So I'm stealing from the government. That's the first issue that I have. The second is I'm also stealing from this government. See, I did not know that this government also has a constitution, also has rights and responsibilities. One of those responsibilities is giving back to the king so that I can be supplied with more resources, right? A word for that is called tithing. Now, there's probably a bunch of conflicting statements in the Bible that can confuse your average believer, or average individual, right? Because in Old Testament, you have tithing as a glorified law, something that must be done. But in New Testament, that actually gets dismantled by the author of that law, Jesus Christ, right? He actually lifts, right, that rule, that commandment of tithing along with the Sabbath, right? It's like it's being violated by the author. And it can seem very confusing, but it's not. Once we see what the actual, process, the whole legal process was from Genesis, all the way to the Gospels, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, where we see the life of Jesus Christ, keeping it going, right? So my current understanding, I could be wrong, right? And this is the process, the legal process you got to learn, right? Is that tithing is still a valid law, but it must be done from the heart. And that number is 10%. Now, 10% is a universal law, right? It's practiced both in the secular world and the religious world. Both agree that that number is actually a very stable, reasonable number that you would give to your government or to your king, to your provider, so that that provider, that sustainer, that source can give back 10x what you gave. And if you were to study any kingdom, you were to study any king or queen, every time a king or a queen visits another kingdom, they bring gifts and offerings to show their glory. All right, it's really all it is. It's just to show their glory, to build relationship, partnership, trust, right? So here I am, as I share with you my story here, and I'll go back to sharing my screen. So we've got stealing as a critical component. So I'm stealing from the government, right? From the government, can't spell, U.S., and my kingdom government. I'm stealing from two governments. Now, you guys have to understand that when I steal, that is against the laws of the land, right? It's against the Constitution, both constitutions, the Bible and the U.S. Constitution. Now, the way I stole was I was stealing and not getting caught. So therefore, I kept doing it. So I kept stealing from my government. I was not giving to the church, right, to the organizations or to the nonprofits. I was not giving to my government. I was working, what is it called? I was getting paid under the table, right? Some of you might be familiar with that. Getting paid under the table. Let's just keep it like that, right? And that money doesn't get taxed because it doesn't get registered to the IR and the S, okay? So here I am stealing from the U.S. government. I'm also stealing from my kingdom government. I'm not getting caught, so therefore I kept doing it. These are one of the procedures that internally I was losing rights. And let me explain just exactly what I mean by that. So from 18 to like 20, as I was searching, seeking what it is my purpose is in life. Why did it change? So while I was searching and seeking what my purpose is in life, my issue was having success in the particular things that I was getting myself involved in. So one of the very first legal jobs I got was selling Cutco knives. Anybody familiar with Cutco knives? They're one of the best knives in the world. They do not fail. They're knives that last forever, and they're amazing. So I first started selling Cutco knives. I learned how to communicate with other American citizens in my country. I learned how to make phone calls, how to book appointments, how to close sales, right? And I would say I made roughly about 10K in sales selling Cutco knives. Now, because I was stealing from the US government and from my kingdom government, not understanding now, stealing from the US government, that could, you know, I'm probably over exaggerating it, but even if it was $1, you're stealing, right? So I'm trying to be very, very critical of how I was operating. And it's important for you to also be very critical of yourself. How do you operate? You have to pay attention to every step you make. You need to manage your own life before you manage others. You need to clean your own room before you try to clean someone else's room. Very, very important, right? So here I am selling Cutco knives. Out of nowhere, I begin to lose sales, not performing, losing motivation, right? And I'm going to highlight every single thing that I've done that I list below Cutco knives and Cutco knives itself. I did it all, right? Did it all without the support of my king, the ruler, God, Elohim, Yeshua, Jehovah, right? So you're going to see a pattern of me doing things without, and then you're going to see a pattern of me doing things with my king and in alignment with my legal rights, both internally and externally, right? So that's the first one, selling Cutco knives. The very next thing I started learning about was network marketing. Little did I know that Cutco was a network marketing company. Didn't know that till like months into it. So I learned about network marketing. Another word for it is MLM. Another word for it is direct sales, which simply means the individual does the marketing and promotion for a company that has created a product or a service, and that company pays me more money so that they don't have to do the advertising. I am their advertisement, and it doesn't cost them anything, right? They don't lose by making me the ambassador or the salesman for their company. So it's a very, very strong, reliable, ethical concept that works when it's properly executed, I would say. So I learned about network marketing, MLM, direct sales. One of the first that I would say enlisted in was a company called ACN. Anybody ever heard of them? So that was the first company. So we got ACN. I don't know why these numbers are here. Bullet points, that's what I want. So we got ACN. That was, no, don't correct me. ACN, know what I'm doing. That was about a $500 investment. Okay. And there was other costs as well. I'm just gonna round, call it 500. I did that without my king and had no success. Okay, there was another company I came across, Nerium. Okay, I want to say that was about $1,500 I invested. Also did it without my king. Had no success. Now, why am I not having any success? Well, it's only a couple of things. It's the way I processed information, right? According to the story I gave you, so this is a true story, right? I had a father I lost my source, so therefore I was not exposed to my legal rights, both internally and externally. I had a mother that had to play both roles. They had to play both mother and father, and then, you know, stress begins, and then she has to, you know, find a new father to, you know, replace my father, right? Because she cannot do it alone. It's impossible to do life alone. Cannot do it alone. So all these different circumstances and situational things that occur, which I'm sure some of you can relate to, right? So here we go. Nerium, about a $1,500 investment, right? Did it without my king. No success. My mindset was not right, right? I was not being ethical and truthful in everything I was doing. I was not sharing my story. I was not repenting for my sins. So I could not get everything I wanted out of the U.S. government, nor could I get everything out of the kingdom government, the constitution that the creator of all things have displayed out for you and I. So no success. Okay, here we go. The next one. It Works. Ever heard of that one? I think that was like 1,000, right? Did it without my king. Again, no success. Let's see. What was another company I got involved with? Oh, started doing Invicta watches. Are you guys familiar with Invicta watches? They're fairly cheap. They're big, bulky, flashy watches, right? And I was a wholesaler, so I would wholesale. I was a authorized dealer. I would say that was like a good 10K investment, maybe less, maybe probably 7K investment. Again, no success. I might have sold a few watches, but really no stable income. All right, so do you guys see the pattern? Right? I even, when I became of age, right, around 18, 19 years old, and I'm doing all these different things, I even reconnected with my source, my father. So my actual biological father, I actually reconnected with him, right? And he supplied me with money. I would say a large sum of money, because his government, the U.S. government, had to pay him reparations, right? Because he was put away falsely, so they had to, you know, pay that man a sum of money so that he could rebuild his life. So I even reconnected with my source, my father, and he supplied me with a large sum of money, which I also used, you could argue, you know, you could say, against his will. Right? So I didn't use it according to what he wanted. I kind of did things the way I wanted to. right? You know, I actually used the money to help my mother out, to help my mother pay off some debt, to get my credit right. It was about me at the time. It was about me because I figured, shoot, my government don't care about me, right? The situation that I've been through and all the things that I've seen, you know, it's about me. I gotta get my own, right? That was the attitude I had because ain't nobody else gonna do it for me, right? So even when I reconnected with my source, my father, I even took advantage of him in my own way, the same way he took advantage of me. What you have to understand is, you know, I'm not sure if you guys know anyone that has been to prison falsely or wrongly accused of something, but what I can tell you, what I can witness as an experience is that if I put you in a confined environment with bars and you have no legal rights, no legal authority, you are less than a human being, right? If you don't have rights, you're less than a human. You're like an animal, right? So I understood that my father had seen some things, right? Was put away in, you know, max prison, right? Max security. And may have had to do things or may have had things done to him. We don't know. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that when you are trapped for many years, it does a lot to your mind. It can shut off the very hope of life that we all look for. The hope of life is love, right? That's what we all hope for, is that people will love us and that we will be cherished and that we will be remembered. We're all searching for the same thing, love. We're searching for the source. Even if you're an atheist or an unbeliever, you know at night you're searching for it because you dream, because you imagine things, because you think of things, because you're looking, you know, past the 500 million galaxies that are out there. You're looking. We're all looking, okay? Well, if I were to confine you for over 10 years, I'm sure you and I can both agree, your mind is on the verge of insanity, right? And you could say, in a way, I knew this. Even though I wasn't intentionally like thinking about it, it was like I knew it. I knew that I was his only son. I'm his only son, so therefore I'm his only blood. So if he gives me money, he gives me reparations from the government that's now coming to me because I deserved it, right? Here's my mindset. I deserve. It's about me. It's me too. It's my life matters, right? Blah, blah, blah. All this stuff. Well, that puts me out of alignment. And that has me thinking unethically, right? So here I am, right? Over the course of what we've shared so far, stealing from the government, stealing from my kingdom government, stealing from my father, right? You could argue that it's stealing, or you could argue that, no, he just gave you the money and, hey, you know, he's a grown man, I'm a kid, right? You could go either way on how you want to argue this. But me personally, to clear my record, because here's the thing to understand. Although I've done things, although I've done sins, I've never been put in prison. I've never been locked up, never been sent to jail. I have no record. I'm what you call clean. But am I really clean? No. And I began to realize this. I began to realize how unclean I truly was, right? So coming back, looking at our information here. So I'm doing all of these things out of alignment. My mindset was not right, right? Which is why anything you do, anything you think in your mind, if it's not righteous, if it's not right, it's not going to last. right? These are factual things. No matter how good you think you are at a particular thing, if you steal, if you rob, if you treat your neighbor unrighteously, things do come back to you, bite you in the you know what, right? So, reconnect with my source, my Father, supply me with a large sum of money. I use that money against his will, right? And that also did it without my king. So that relationship did not get a chance to flourish and restore itself. I did it without my king. No success. Okay? I then got a regular job, a job. And I started working for an entertainment venue, right? Like an adventure park, indoor amusement park. And I also stole from that institution. So here I am now stealing from the US government, stealing from my kingdom government, stealing from my source, my Father. And now I'm stealing from who? I'm stealing from an institution now, a business organization, right? So I'm stealing from the owners of that institution. So I had a regular job. I was a food and beverage manager, right? Now, again, I stole without being caught, right? Whether it was as little as a nickel, I am owning up to it and saying, you know what? I did do that. I did. Even if it was a penny. I stole it. It wasn't mine. It didn't belong to me. It wasn't in my timing. So I'm repenting in front of man. It's very important that each and every one of you repent, which simply means to change your mind, change your behavior, change your thoughts. Because if you're not willing to publicly submit and surrender in front of man, then neither will your king who is in heaven, your sustainer, your source, your creator, your manufacturer. He is not going to plea on your behalf. Because if you're not willing to submit to him in front of man, then how can he submit you in front of the king? Right? So how can Jesus support you in front of the judge? So you have to understand that Jesus is your witness, the Holy Spirit is your lawyer, and God is the judge of all things. And then in civil societies, in American society, you have the American government, you have the judicial system, right? So you have man, a judge is a man, then you have your witness, and then you have your lawyer who is acting on your behalf. Works the same way, right? So coming back, I got a regular job, food and beverage manager, stole without being caught. Now, let me tell you how life works. It's funny, right? How life works when you are out of alignment. Okay? So it wasn't until summer of 2018 that my life took a shift. So I was wrongly accused, right? I was falsely, my God, I can't spell. I was, how should I type this? So, let me think. Summer of 2018, this was around June, right? So I was fired from my job for mismanagement of financial resources. Whew. This is deep. We're getting deep. So I was fired from my job for mismanagement of resources. To be even more specific, according to the how should we say, the leader of that institution without any evidence or physical proof, Denzel Rodriguez stole money from the cash registers, right? This is kingdom stuff. If you guys are still with me, the 64 individuals that are still watching, I hope this impacts your life beyond. I hope you take this and you get on your knees and you repent for your sins. Because I tell you right now, when you release all of that pain, all of that anxiety, all of that stress, that worry, that doubt, that fear, oh my God, will you be lifted up like never before. You will be lifted. So, here's how life works. This is pretty funny stuff. Now, although, right, I'm going to put the camera on me so that, you know, my king recognizes that I'm talking. So, although the institution I worked for had no physical proof or evidence of what I did, right? What ended up happening, it's funny how life works, man, is, you know, I was just operating, doing my daily activities, my daily routine. Somebody else actually stole from the cash registers. Somebody else, you know, mismanaged the funds. And then me as the manager, I'm responsible for my staff. Whatever they do falls on me. So in that moment, although it wasn't me that did it, I am honestly telling you right now that there was a time where I did in fact pull money, stole from the registers without being caught. Now, I was slick. What I would do is, if anybody has ever worked for McDonald's or food and beverage, you ever work a cash register, you know it's a pain in the you-know-what when someone gives you, you know, a big bill and you can't break it, right? Or you don't have coins and you gotta like call your manager to get the coins and blah, blah, you gotta do all this stuff. So I would often bring my own change, my own $1 bills to work, right? To make that process even easier so I don't have to go all the way upstairs and break the money down and all this stuff. Now, what would happen often is, as a manager, when you're working your register, you have staff that work your register. Sometimes they make mathematical errors, or sometimes the system makes its own mathematical errors. Someone gives you a 20, you give back, you know, $18.50 of change when it should have been $18.25 of change. So now the register is over 25 cents. So whenever the registers at the end of the night were over or under, I would always bring it back to zero. It started off by me and other managers that I worked with. We were like, oh, let's just save this money here. Let's store it. Let's just save it in case our registers are under, so we never get in trouble by the higher up managers. If our registers are always clean, we never have any trouble. Now, what's interesting is when you are young or old, you always follow someone in life. Whether it's a mentor, a mom, a father, you're always going to be following somebody, right? Well, I would follow what I saw. So I saw my managers stealing, which made it okay for me to steal according to my mindset. Again, out of alignment. So here I am being influenced by others to steal. I steal, I'm now the evil one, right? I'm doing an evil act. That's against the law. It's against the rules. So it's just pretty funny how for a solid 2.5 years or so in that time frame, I would take home some of that cash, right? And I would always hold it on to me in the event that any of the registers were under or over, and I would, you know, make them at 0. And then it wasn't until somebody else did it, I was accused for it, I ended up getting fired. My life drastically changed. So, I got on my knees, I confessed to God in private, I prayed, I petitioned. I looked for the words, couldn't find them. And then I decided to say, I surrender to what I think I know about money, about what I think I know about my government, about what I think I know about life, purpose, values, things like that. And I am going to rely on what this Constitution says, right? So I did that. Moving forward, now let me show you the pattern, right? Let me show you the similarities here. Let's do this. Oh man. So after doing things my way with no success, I decided to do things God's way. Yes? So I decided to do things God's way. The moment I surrender to my manufacturer, I understand I am a product. I was created, right? I was intelligently designed, right? I was designed with a purpose, with a will, with values, okay? So after I decided to do things God's way, the very first act I did was start making videos on YouTube with God's support and achieved success. I asked people for help with God's support and had success. If you look at my Patreon page, right, I raised over $100,000 from people, right? I raised over $100,000 from strangers, ladies and gentlemen, strangers, people that never met me, never shook my hand, never gave me a hug, never gave me a kiss on the cheek, never, nothing, strangers. Raised over $100,000 with God's support, had success. Started making videos on YouTube with God's support, achieved success. Look, we're at 30K subscribers. I make 1K a month average from YouTube, right? Passive, okay? I started a business with God's support and had success. Do you see the pattern? Without God, no success. With God, success. Very simple, right? Started a business with God's support, had success. First year in business, 250K plus revenue. Second year in business, 350K revenue. And 2020 is not even over yet. With God, had success. Do you see the pattern? Started multiple streams of income and all have some passive income. With God, had success. Do you see the pattern? Are you with me? Okay. See how powerful this is? When you trust, when you surrender what you think you know about money, what you think you know about life, no matter how old you are, 70 years old, 50 years old. Listen, my friend, I'm doing this now, sharing my story now, because I know somebody is on their knees right now somebody's going to watch the replay and get on their knees and say, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm a sinner. I've sinned. I no longer wish to be a sinner. I wish to be born again. I want to become a citizen. I want to restore what I lost in the kingdom so that I can execute life here on earth. Okay, super important. What I'm going to do right now is take a quick break. I actually have to use the bathroom. I don't want to stop. So if you guys have to go, I totally understand. We're an hour and 45 minutes in. I'm going to open it up to some Q&A now, right? But I'm going to take a little break and come back, all right? So give me 5 minutes just to use the bathroom, grab a drink of water. I'm going to come back. Whoever's left, I'm going to go back. I'm going to read your questions. I want to hear your testimonies. How can I be of service to you? Was this of value? Write your notes down, write your questions, start commenting, talk amongst each other. All right, I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Okay, I am back. Thank you guys for being very patient. Let's see. How is my picture? It looks a little blurry to me. Might have to fix that. Let me see. There we go. Looks a little cleaner. Okay. So we got 58 people left in the house, so I understand if some of you have to take off. You gotta head out. What I want to do now is check out some Q&A. So I'm gonna scroll back up to where we left off. Let's see. I think I left off here, right? With Tyra, yep. Can you guys hear me okay? Mic is good, I know mic is on, okay, perfect. All right. Terry says nice, from San Diego, hello, hello, I know you're a client of mine. We haven't spoken in a little while, so I'd hope to reconnect again soon. Love to hear how things are going with you. Don't know why my camera is being funny. Starting to think it's when I move too fast. Very good knowledge, awesome. Just got my trust linked to my whole life insurance policy. That's awesome. That is a very, very good step. Speaking of trust, legal rights, access, we'll go ahead and share my screen here. For those of you that need to get your will done, you need to get your trust, estate planning, you're looking to incorporate, you're looking to start your business, right? You need your EIN number, articles of incorporation, you need some coaching on that, how to properly structure your business depending on what your business actually is. If you go to my website, www.denzelrodriguez.com, go to resources, scroll down, you'll see a bunch of different resources that I have. If you go right here to Legal Shield, this is one of the services that I use and have used for quite a while now. And I'll just take you to my, I actually just hired Legal Shield again. I'm gonna have them do my, let me see, where is that? Here we go. So I just invested with Legal Shield yet again. This is a service that they have for people that are looking to start their businesses. It's super valuable. You get a Legal Shield attorney. They're going to contact me within 4 business hours. Now, they didn't contact me with 4 business hours only because I did it like 1 o'clock in the morning when I actually put everything through. So I know my law firm, they're going to reach out to me. I actually have a missed call from them already because we've been live. So I know they called me. And they coach you. So I'm going to have an attorney that coaches me through the whole entire process, help me with all the formation. I also get 3 months of the Legal Shield plan, and I believe the home business plan for free for 3 months. I paid $244, right? It's $145 for everything, and then you can add $99 for the kit and seal of your company incorporated and all that good stuff. So pretty powerful stuff there. Like I said, all you gotta do is go to my website. It'll take you right here, and you can see the different plans that they have to offer. Super helpful overall. Never had a problem with them. They've been very, very helpful with a lot of different services that they have. And I usually always recommend them to my clients that have high cash value life insurance policies. You might as well, once you get your policy max funded for the year, and you want to take out, if there's enough cash value and you're not chunking at anything or something like that, that we take a nice portion of that cash value in there, or outside money let's get your trust and your will done. Have the beneficiary be the trust so that you can execute those dollars effectively. Molly says, I'm just listening and taking everything you say in. That's awesome. Okay. Denzel, keeping it real. God bless you. Awesome. Let's see. Oh, okay, cool. Dino says, Cucko knives, my parents bought them from a salesman back in the 80s. Wow. Yep. I didn't know Cucko was around that long. I think longer than that, actually. Candy says, use my Cucko knives daily. Yep. Hey, I'm telling, if you want to get your mom a really nice gift and she's a cook, or if you want to get your wife or your husband a nice gift and they love to cook, Cucko knives, let me tell you, if they've been using dull knives their whole life, right, and they experience a Cucko knife, I mean, the way this thing can, oh my God, it cuts through anything. It's so good. Baker says, thank you, value your testimony and the time and effort you put into the content. It helps. Glad you enjoy it. Lauren says, news, especially young man, the first time I watched him on Wealth Nation 4 months ago. It's the Holy Spirit talking through me. I promise you, it's not me. Tell him again, Denzel. Through God, all things are possible. Have belief/faith. Yep. If you really think about it, one has likely broken all 10 commandments. Of course. Even when we think we are righteous, our righteousness is like filthy rags before a holy God. You're absolutely correct. Awesome. I'm going to start looking for some comments, some questions, actually. Robin Burke says, this is a wonderful birthday gift. Thank you, Denzel. So are you telling me it's your birthday? Happy birthday. God bless you. Yep. People in the house saying happy birthday. Lauren says happy birthday. All right. What are some of the multiple streams of income that works best for you? If you had to choose only one, which one would it be? That's a good question. So, I had to choose. All right, so let's answer the first question because I can do that one. That's not so hard. So, I learned this from Grant Cardone. Multiple streams of income, right? So you've got activity income, right? For me, that is coaching/consulting. You know what? That's my answer. Coaching and consulting is my favorite stream of income. It's hard work. It's good work. I love the work. I love talking to people. That's where my purpose is best executed, is when I'm talking to people individually, genuinely, authentically. That's where I really do the most, where I'm most effective. So that's my answer, child of God. So that would be my only one. It's activity income, but it could also turn into passive, right? Passive income is like my YouTube and all the links I have below in the description, right? So that could also be, affiliate income, referral, marketing, also known as MLM, right? Network marketing, direct sales. In the 21st century, if you do not have any sort of involvement with affiliate, referral marketing, MLM, network marketing, direct sales, you are leaving a lot on the table. So is it a bad thing if you never get involved in any of these things? No. Just know that you are leaving a lot of opportunity on the table. And that's okay too. You know, you have to find what works best for you. For me personally, I put 2 and 2 together. I understand what the times we are in right now, right? So if we were in biblical times, I wouldn't be talking to you about YouTube, about network marketing and MLM. I would be talking to you about planting and establishing seeds so that you can build a crop, you know, so that you can multiply food and be a distributor. A distributor is another word for affiliate marketing, referral marketing. It's the same thing, it's just different words, different meanings. Or same meaning, different word is what I meant to say. Same meaning, different words, right? So if we were in the old times, in Jesus times, I'd be coaching you on how to start a farm, right? How to be a shepherd, how to take care of animals, how to distribute food accordingly and effectively, how to multiply food, how to multiply fish and bread. I'd be exposing you to the kingdom, right? At that point, and even today, I'm still exposing you to the kingdom. So those are, hopefully that answers your question there. So let's come back. Let's see, what is the best setup to get started with streaming and making YouTube videos? So me personally, I use Ecamm Live. I have also used StreamYard, okay? If you go to my website, you go to resources, you click on Ecamm, it'll take you right to the service. You can check out their products. I really like Ecamm a lot. It works great with my MacBook, very seamless. And I use YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram as my 3 platforms, but primarily I'm on YouTube. Works best for me. So Ecamm Live, StreamYard are the 2 that I like most. What I like most about Ecamm over StreamYard is the multi-camera. So you could have multiple cameras and you can have your own little switchboard. It's very nice. Makes it like a real, like you got like a real studio setup. Very, very clean. Lewis says, I'd like to know about the mindset / feeling you get when you know you are giving back. Is there a sensation? There certainly is. There certainly is. I mean, you know, there's giving in public, right? Like when I'm giving right now to you guys. Then there's giving in secret. Oh, and that's like one of the best because it's just only you know and the Lord. And so that recognition and reward stays right there. When you start giving publicly, and you just, you talk about your giving and your good works, the reward is from the recognition from your fellow man, right? Your fellow citizen, your fellow kingdom citizen. But I've gotten greater feelings, sensations. It's like I feel like I'm in tune with the voice in my head, right? And this will help a lot of people that are, you're struggling. You don't know if you believe or not. You're up in the air. You're like, you know what? I don't know, man. I just haven't seen it, right? Haven't had my, moment with God yet. And there's a reason for that. This goes back to legal rights, right? Like, if you don't exercise the rights, if you don't read your rights, then the author, the manufacturer, for example, take the American government. If I don't learn about my American government, if I don't learn what it is to be an American, if I don't learn about my democratic process, if I don't learn about politics, if I don't learn about business, then I'm never going to experience what it's like to be an American. Never. Same goes with learning about God and His kingdom and His constitution. If I don't read the Word, if I don't learn it, if I don't practice it, I mean, all I got to do is practice it. I mean, and just start with Genesis. I mean, there's so much constitutional legal rights that are executed in the very first article of the Constitution, called Genesis. Right? When He says God created man in His own image. Image of God, He created him, male and female, He created them. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. That is a lot of authority. That is a lot of management. You're telling me that I have the power to subdue a whale, a dolphin, a shark. I can subdue a rhino, a hippopotamus, right? A lion, an eagle, a dog, a cat, a mouse, an ant, right? That's what this Constitution is saying. It sounds crazy. Trust me, I know. Then He said, then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food, and it was so. That's a constitutional legal statement that is binding. God is binding that with man. All I have to do is execute it. So if I say, you know what, I want to be a farmer. I want to own land. I want to have authority. Well, if you obey the laws of the land, if you're in America, right, you obey those laws, and you obey these laws, you get your internal rights, your external rights in alignment. You seek, you search, you discover. You're going to make mistakes, trust me. Right? But what helps is when you just go to the source, right? Where is the source of all things? God, you have to answer that question. It's impossible to go through life not knowing what the source is and just operating based off feelings. If you don't know the source of your feelings, I mean, no wonder why there's so many people with anxiety and stress and worry and doubt and fear, right? No wonder, because you don't know what your source is, right? So it can be tough. Tiffany Anderson says, do you consult on how to connect your trust to life insurance? When I'm working with my one-on-one clients, sure. It's not that difficult. Tiffany, if you already have a life insurance policy in place and you're looking to get a trust, you don't need me. You need the resource or a resource. I'm giving you one called Legal Shield. You go to my website, denzelrodriguez.com. You go to the resources. You click on Legal Shield. More than happy to walk you through the process should you pick a product. The product that you would want to buy is the Legal Shield plan, and I'll share my screen just so that you can see it. So you'll want to go to Legal Shield. That's the Legal Shield plan. More details. Click on more details here. And you can see what it has to offer. All the exact, see, estate planning, standard will, financial power of attorney, living will, health power of attorney, plus your attorney can provide you advice on estate issues and update your documents yearly, right? Trust is included in that. So looking at the plan details, click on here, you can see the whole contract layout of exactly what you get. It's $24.95 a month. Super valuable. I own this plan and I own the ID Shield, the identity theft. I own the home business, which is $9.95. ID Shield says $11.95, but I pay like $15.95 to get all 3 credit monitoring bureaus at once, all in one location. So you can pay as little as $11.95, but as high as $15. But you're gonna want the personal legal plan should you decide to go in that direction. If you find another source, hey, let me know who you end up working with. But I've gotten a ton of value from Legal Shield over the years, for sure. Here we go. I don't like how it's blurry. Screen, I gotta fix that. Let's see. What other questions might occur here? What strategies can I use to fund a school that I want to open in the next 24 months? All right. Let's cover that. So, if I was going to start a school, that's the question. Move that comment. All right. Wants to start a school in 24 months. That will require a large sum of capital, I'm assuming, depending on what type of school, public, private, or like a learning center, you know, whatever it is, I'm pretty sure you need a brick and mortar. So it's going to require, you know, a decent sum of capital. I would reach out to my friend Sebastian Boyer. He does business credit. So you can click the link below that talks about business credit, building your business credit, or you can go to my website, click on the resources. You'll see a link regarding building your business credit. Learning how to leverage debt in the 21st century is going to be critical, right? The amount of time that it would take for you to absorb the capital yourself in 24 months, you know, having all the risk on you versus having, say, partners, people help you. You reduce that risk. You increase the value of your mission when other people join in on it. So Sebastian Boyer, he does business credit. That'd be the first strategy I would learn, business credit. The second one is business planning. So I would reach out to a lady named Ashley Cheeks. She personally designed my own business plan, my media market kit, and she's now doing another service for me where I'm filling out an affiliate proposal when I reach out to other companies that I want to do business with. Having a business plan that can put you in front of investors to provide you with capital in exchange for equity or in exchange for, you know, whether it's a loan with an interest rate or whatever it may be. But business planning, I believe, is key. Business credit, personal credit, you know, might as well throw that in there. And then creating a stream of income that supports the school. Creating a stream of income outside of the school that supports the school would be ideal. Like me personally, I now have like a solid 5 to 6 streams of income, all of which are going to be used to some capacity to start learning how to invest in Forex trading. So right now, what I did, like I showed you earlier, was I just paid Legal Shield to start another corporation, and it's going to be strictly used for investing in Forex. All right, so I'm going to establish a company I'm doing everything according to my legal rights, both internally and externally, so I can do things accordingly. And so the money, so I get capital that I'm creating myself. So you want to create streams of income yourself other than a JOB, right? You want to create streams of income, build affiliate partnerships and relationships so that you can refer in and out, get paid for other people's work. And then I would look at business planning. Ashley Cheeks, she's another individual I have on my resource page. She has a YouTube channel. She's awesome. And then Sebastian Boyer, he does business credit. He's awesome as well. Solid work that they do. Is it a way I can collaborate with you on my podcast? Live from the Gutter podcast. It's about independence, being an alpha male entrepreneur. They say we are from the gutter. I want to show we are winning. If you send me an email, Denzel at builder2contributor.com, or you go to my website, fill out my contact form, that's another way, and be very detailed of who you are, that you were on the live stream with me, you hung out, made a comment, talk about your podcast, and we can schedule something out in the future to talk to people that are coming from low-income environments or people that are doing moderately well and they want to do better. All right. Let's see. Do you consult on how to move capital from my company into a life insurance policy? I am wondering if I would incur any taxable events for borrowing so much money from my company. And then she said, I didn't have a life insurance policy yet. Okay, so in regards to life insurance, it depends on what type of life insurance you're talking about, whether it's just a regular policy or if you're looking at the infinite banking concept and you want to design it a particular way. I have a resource below, IBC Global. The owner is Steve Parisi. I highly recommend talking to him and his team regarding using capital from a business to fund a life insurance policy. Depending on how your structure is set up, I mean, if you have an LLC or an S corporation, it's a pass-through entity, then it's not that hard to move the money out of the company. So you're not necessarily borrowing the money, you're just sending it to your personal establishes, your personal account pays for your personal life insurance policy, which once the money is in there, you're able to borrow from it day one, right? You don't have to wait years to get access to your cash, depending on how it's designed, right? So if you get it from Maximum Cash, we borrow out of the policy, it comes back to my personal checking account, and then I could then write a loan to my company so that it can execute things in the business, or maybe I repurpose that policy for something entirely different, right? So just the key thing is getting educated, doing research on the product itself. How do you want to design it? How do you want to use it? How do you want to use this policy? Do you want to use it to fund your business? Do you want to use it to just simply save your money safely, tax-free, have a compound? Do you want to use it to pay certain bills every year or finance certain things? So he says the private Christian school, pre-K, 4 to 8 grade, everything, you need at least $250K. Yeah. You're talking angel investors. You're talking, you need to know someone that knows someone. It's important. I would say those couple steps I mentioned to you earlier. Mary Campbell says, I want to invest in an insurance policy that I can borrow from to create a line of credit. I need your help to learn how. So, like I tell everyone else, I recommend watching the videos that I've put out so far. I recommend going to IBC Global, getting connected with them. I have a link below, and you can work with them one-on-one, get information. They're very, very, very transparent regarding the concept, regarding high cash value life insurance itself, you know, it's fun. It's very effective. Tiffany says, I'm looking to do IBC as well. Thanks for the responses. Appreciate you. I appreciate you as well. If you guys have more comments, I'm more than happy to answer it. I know this is a deep session. Deep, deep. But in a time like this, what we're going through right now, it's important to reveal to you, like, look, this is my source. I believe, I know why I have what I have. Because it wasn't until I changed my behavior, it wasn't until I changed my mind to see, oh, this is how it could be done. And before I believed in it, I said, well, you know what? It doesn't hurt to exercise what it says. It doesn't hurt for me to change my atmosphere, right? What was wrong with me from 0 to 18, 19, 20 years old was my atmosphere. So when the Bible talks about the Garden of Eden, right? Eden, what it literally means, it means like multiple words because it was written in Hebrew and different dashes. So Eden literally means time, moment, place, delightful pleasure, atmosphere. So all I needed to do was change the atmosphere and change the lenses from which I look at life through. So once I got in Eden, right, I'm now in a new moment. I'm now in a new place that's very delightful, and I'm in a different time, right? I'm in a different time. It's 2020. I'm 24 years old. It's a different time, right? And then I begin to plant. Literally, plant means to establish, right? So I'm establishing my government. I'm establishing my kingdom here on earth. And then I have to surrender to someone, something, right? I have to become a citizen. No matter where you live on planet Earth, you have to become a citizen somewhere, or else you do not have equal rights, right? So if you are an American citizen living in America and you and I decide to go to another country and live there, understand wherever we go outside of America, we're not going to have the same legal rights. So if I go to Canada, I'm not going to have the same legal rights that a Canadian citizen would have, period. If I want the full rights of Canada and full ownership, full respect, full authority and responsibility, I must renounce my American citizenship and become a Canadian. It works the same way with this Constitution. God is asking us to renounce or become reborn because the first birth was contaminated. So I have to become reborn into that Constitution, become a citizen there, and then I have dual citizenship. I'm an American, but I'm also a kingdom citizen. I have internal rights, external rights. I operate, move forward, right? At some point, did you ever have to share your knowledge with anyone before you started winning? Did you ever have to share your knowledge with anyone before you started winning? Are you referring to like my personal story knowledge or just like what I do, like velocity banking, infinite banking? The answer is yes. I mean, I started sharing it with my mom, with my friends, anyone, whoever would listen. I would start sharing what I thought I knew was correct and authentic, right? And I was able to press forward. But it wasn't until I started publicly authenticating, verifying my story, repenting, and then giving glory where glory is due, whether it's through people, other businesses, right? And God himself. Okay. This is powerful stuff. Hope you guys have been enjoying this. This has certainly been a ton of fun. And we'll keep doing this. We'll keep having more sessions just like this. There's 56 people in the house. You guys have just been, look, 2 hours and 30 minutes of your day you dedicated to me, to the Lord, to understanding your legal rights, rediscovering the kingdom to access your legal rights. I hope this is the starting point that got you to that next step, okay? Now, moving forward, I'm going to keep putting out similar content like this. More than happy to work with any of you guys. As of right now, my only service that I provide is my Velocity Banking Manifesto. You can become a kingdom citizen. You can become a citizen in my kingdom and have new rights, new legal rights. All right, where I offer performance-based coaching, I offer business partnership opportunities, I offer education, knowledge, resources, helpful things to get you to the next level. Okay, I don't see any more questions here, so we're going to wrap it up. I have really enjoyed this. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending the time with me. And I look forward to continuing to serve you, okay? Have a wonderful day, and God bless.